Happy Saturday, everybody. Guys, I had several people reach out this week looking for a $600,000 house in Franklin. And what I didn't realize was they were actually looking for a unicorn. This is shocking to me because I'm like, sure, listings have been going up, contracts have been going down. I'm sure we can find something. There was nothing. Wow. At the same time, I had a client looking in the million plus range who was so ecstatic because none of the houses that he favorited had gone under contract. This was surprising to me, and it made me question what is happening, and are there two different market dynamics happening at the same time? And I was blown away. Now, we're going to focus on Williamson County, Franklin area in this video because that's where it's most pronounced. Williamson County is the wealthiest of the 9 counties. It has the highest median price by almost double. So in this video, we're going to zoom in on Williamson County. I'm going to show you the dynamics, and I think you'll be shocked at what you see. So as always, let's get into the data. Okay, so one thing I want to start off with is Ray Dalio mentions Silicon Valley Bank. I'm not going to read this whole thing. This is a phenomenal piece that he wrote, but I'm going to read 2 lines from it. This one right here. He said, this is a very classic event in the very classic bubble bursting part of the short-term debt cycle. Now, he goes on to warn that there is also a long-term debt cycle that could be ending. And I think he might be right. Okay. The quote that I took away from this is this one right here. While people are now not thinking about the next interest rate cut in QE of the Fed, we should be, because the timing of these is probably less than a year away and it will have a big effects. I think there's a very good chance that it will produce a big decline in the value of money. Now, I know that at the same time I was talking about a crash last week, I said it's time to buy. And the reason I said it was time to buy isn't because I'm so bullish on real estate. You got to look at individual listings. But the reason I think this is because the value of money is about to drop, and that is a upward pressure on real estate prices. At the same time, most real estate prices make absolutely no sense right now. So it's tough. It's a really bizarre market. Now, one other thing I want to show you, and this may lead into the conversation we have with Williamson County. We have more banks moving to restrict jumbo mortgage lending. Okay, jumbo mortgages are simply defined as anything that's beyond a Fannie or Freddie backed mortgage. Fannie loan limits here in the Middle Tennessee area are $890,000. That translates into about a $1.1 million house. So when you think about $1 million plus houses, you're starting to get into the jumbo loans. That's interesting because maybe that's playing a factor into what we're seeing, where sub $1 million houses are going much quicker than million plus houses. Okay, so starting off, let's just take a look at Middle Tennessee. We're going to come back to Middle Tennessee and talk about median sales price, but real quick, contracts flat this week, up by 5. Active listings flat this week, down by 10. Williamson County, we've been focused on Williamson County. Williamson County, we saw it bend down last week. It looked like it was just falling through the floor. It bounced, and now we're flat. So we're running at a flat contract volume. Keep in mind, this is very subdued. This is 10, 20, 30% lower than last year. So don't think that means it's momentum. It's just not falling. Okay. At the same time, active listings flat week over week. It was within 4. Okay. So let's zoom in on Williamson County. Active listings in Williamson County, when you break these out by over $1 million, which is the blue line, and under $1 million, which is the orange line, interestingly enough, we started the year where there were more active listings under $1 million than over. And by the end of January, it flipped. Under $1 million dropped by 10%. Over $1 million increased to 500. So we went from 447 to 500 over $1 million listings at the same time that under $1 million listings dropped by 60. So what makes this wild is we have kind of the same number of active listings, but by the way, this includes condos. So it may look a little bit different than my other numbers, but the wild thing is we have the same number of active listings, but million plus listings have skyrocketed. Let's take a look at contract volume. Contract volume peaked on the under $1 million just a few weeks ago at the latter part of February, and it dropped about 10, maybe 15%. But million plus dropped 25%, 162 to 124. Guys, this is crazy. This is nuts. So we've got a massive drop in contract volume at the same time as active listings are skyrocketing for our million plus listings. What is happening? Now, one other thing I want to say about this is this contract volume at 237, this is off of a much, much, much more limited supply. Look, there's only 405 listings and there's 237 under contract. Okay. Contrast that with 500 listings and only 124 under contract. So you can see that the $1 million plus market is softening. It's softer. There's more supply relative to contracts, and the under million is extremely tight. And this is what I was saying. I realized this when my clients were asking me questions. It occurred to me, hey, I need to look into that. Okay, so what does this look like from a neighborhood perspective? Well, let's take a look at West Haven. Okay, here's West Haven. This is $1 million plus in West Haven. You can see there's 50 listings here. And I'll just go ahead and tell you there's 10 under contract. Okay, so what that means is there's about 40 active listings plus you have 10 under contract. It's about a 4-month supply of listings. Now, I did talk to a list agent in West Haven. They're very confident about the supply there. They've needed more supply all of last year, so they're so happy they're finally getting it. I'm a little bit more bearish than that. That to me is concerning. But to their point, they said, look, a lot of these houses that are listed are still under construction. They're not even finished yet. So we have a very, very tight supply for the $1 million plus. And that is a very good point. Let's keep going. Here we got Franklin. This is inside the Mac Hatcher loop here. And this is probably the worst area of Franklin when you look at relative supply. So here we have 31 million plus listings and yet only 4 under contract. This is like a 7-month supply of active listings. And I got to tell you, going into the year we're going into the spring that we're having, as banks are tightening up lending, that 7-month supply is scary. That is scary. So if there's anywhere we're going to see price concessions, it's going to happen inside this Mac Hatcher loop, in my opinion. Okay, let's keep going. Here we have Berry Farms. Berry Farms is another nice area. It's still getting I guess it's still building out. They've still got a lot of construction there, but the neighborhood part has been built. Here we have 7 listings, none under contract. That's a little bit alarming, but it's a smaller market there. I mean, there's only 7, and that doesn't necessarily surprise me, but that's 7 listings, none are under contract. Here we got Ladd Park area. Ladd Park is got some movement to it. Ladd Park, believe it or not, Ladd Park the latter half of last year was doing very poorly. Prices were dropping very rapidly. It's tightened up. And anything that tightens up like this, you can see we have 10 active listings and 7 under contract. Now, I think there were 2. I mean, these aren't really Ladd Park, so maybe you take 2 of those out. Nonetheless, very tight here for the million range. It's tightened up. So keep that in mind. I mean, Ladd Park prices have dropped quite a bit there. I mean, we were seeing sub 300 a square foot there. And I don't know if it just feels like it's tighter there right now. And clearly the data shows that it is. All in all, if I had to say anything, it's your Franklin. Here we go. Your Franklin area right here is just, it's not looking good for those listings. That inside the Mac Hatcher loop is alarming from a supply perspective. Now we'll see what happens, but just for right now. Last thing I want to show, under 600, nothing. No, there's not one house listed for under 600 north of Murfreesboro Road in Franklin. That is just nuts. And the quality of listings, they've been terrible. I mean, here's a 650. I went and saw this. Now they did say that they were doing a flooring allowance, but guys, the floors were so bad in this house. They were so bad. I mean, it looks okay from the pictures, but I mean, it's 650. I just can't believe you can get away with that now. Here's 610. Guys, we went to see this 610. There was literally, you can't see it because obviously I don't take a picture of this stuff, but on the backside of his house, there's like missing vinyl on the backside of their house. There's like particle board just showing on the backside of this house. I don't get it. I don't understand. Actually, I do. There's nothing for sale. This is the perfect time to sell a house that's not finished. I actually think they're very smart to sell it, but nonetheless, I just can't believe the quality is so low in the 600 range. That being said, are there opportunities? I think there might be, just not $600,000 house. Not right now. Let's go back to Middle Tennessee data here. Okay, we've had 2,300 contracts or 2,300 closings the last 31 days. We're heading towards that 25 to 2,700. 461, 392. Now, why is this so important? 461, 392. When we look at last year, we were at 461, 620. Guys, we are like $200-$300 away from year-over-year negative. That is nuts. That is nuts. So will that hold? I don't know. I think it could go up 5,000. I think it could go lower 5,000. I don't know how much it's going to take. It's a coin flip, but we could literally see our first year-over-year negative at the end of March. I don't know. Things have tightened up. Prices have been on the upswing. I said that would happen, and it has. So where it ends, it's a coin flip, guys. I just don't know. We'll see. Closings, 2,700 is still 10% down. We're going to be going into April on something much closer to 2,500 for closings. So, April could be 20% down, and very, very likely year-over-year negative by the end of April. So anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments or want to reach out, reach out. Book some time. I'd love to talk to you. I love meeting you guys. If you have questions, comments, put in the comments. Have a good weekend, guys. I'll see you next Saturday.